This is Spoiler Country, a podcast about comics, movies, whatever, but mostly comics. Enjoy.
Previously on Spoiler Country.
All right, welcome back to Spoiler Country. I'm Kenric. That's Johnny Horsley. And today on our show, random shit.
More tangents of tangents of tangents.
Yeah, just tangents of crappy
well,
tangents.
I think it's because, and I think it's this. We're doing this way today because it's been so long since we've recorded because of other shit going on.
Yeah, we had
that was like
hospital
we have
stuff.
So much to talk about. Yeah,
surgeries.
We have so much to talk about.
Yeah, it's just all over the place. And in the meantime,
Yeah.
Star Wars came out, and we're both Star Wars fans, but we're not Star Wars super fans.
Right. And what's funny, so let's just start off talking about Star Wars for a second because it seems to be hot right now, and you know with what's going on with the movies and shit. I was never a Star Wars fan growing up. I think I watched it when I was 8, and I didn't watch it again until even when the prequels came out. I didn't rewatch the original ones. I didn't watch the original ones until after I was in college living with my friend Nick, and he forced me to rewatch them with him.
I watched them. I had them on video. So I saw them in the theater. I loved them when I was a kid. I mean, I did. I was a fan. I had a couple. I didn't have any toys, but for some reason I had G.I. Joe, but I didn't have any Star Wars toys. But I had buddies.
I had the Cantina Band. That's the only toys I had. I had the Cantina Band. I remember playing with that because I remember having the little keyboard guy and stuff.
Yeah,
That's all I
didn't have them. I had friends that had them, but I never really cared that much about the toys for Star Wars. I like Transformers and G.I. Joes.
I was more into Star Trek as a kid.
Well, no. Yeah,
I was.
No. Yeah, I wasn't. My dad watched a lot of Star Trek, which made me not like Star Trek because it was like something we had to watch every day.
Oh, see, I watched it with my dad, and I loved it because my dad and I would talk about Next Generation and all the politics and shit.
See, I had that relationship with him when it came to like football and sports,
yeah,
and fishing and hunting and stuff like that. Then my dad and I really connected, but not on Star Trek. I just found it really boring, and I was just like, eh. But I never really cared that much for. I don't know. I just never really cared that much for it. So I was just like, whatever. But, well, I shouldn't say that. I liked it when I was a kid. I really did love the movies when I was a kid. I mean, I remember watching all the stuff when it came out.
Star Wars, right?
Yeah, Star Wars in particular. When it came out on TV, I had them on video. We recorded them off of TV. I don't know. I watched them. I wore out my Return of the Jedi video that I had. So I did love it. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But big fan as a kid. But as I got older, I was never a quote unquote super fan. Right.
Right.
I didn't care about all the guys that had. Well, I should say I didn't care. I didn't care about the movie so much. Like if someone told me the movie, I wouldn't be upset over spoilers. I was not going to wait in line to go see it on opening day. I did that for like Lord of the Rings and I did that for
the prequels, but I did it with my friend. My friend.
Yeah,
Nick
like
and
if
I
it was a friend
my
thing
sister.
and everybody wanted to go, then that would be different. But I personally myself was not going to sit overnight to get into line to wait to go see that movie. It's just never talked to me that way, which is weird because like almost all of my friends are huge super fans. Maybe that's why. Maybe I was like everybody likes it too much, and I was being a weirdo and didn't want to like it because of that. But now I go back and it's just
maybe.
I
don't know. I mean, I enjoy the movies. I enjoyed Episode 8. I really liked Rogue One.
I loved Rogue One.
I loved Rogue. I thought Rogue One was fantastic. I liked the old ones, the original ones. I don't really care for the prequels too much, but I watched it when I was like 8 with my dad, and then I didn't watch it again until my buddy Nick forced me to. And he was a super fan. He still is a super Star Wars fan. He's the kid who had literally memorized the lines to all the original movies. So he would sit next to me and he'd be mouthing the words to everything. It's how many times he watched those fucking movies.
That drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I can't.
He read all the books, all the comics.
When people do that. Like when you're sitting over it, you can hear them saying, you look over, they're mouthing the words or they're like saying the dialogue underneath their breath. And it's just like, I can't enjoy the movie if I'm hearing you say it. At the same time.
Shut up, man.
Yeah, it's not like we're all singing a song together. It's just you being weird.
Right. What's funny is we're talking about Star Wars. I've been telling you, and some people online know, I've been reworking all my old Jolene Only comics into actual comic books and stories.
Yeah.
And one of the ones I just finished last week was I had done leading up into Force Awakens. I did like 18 strips based around Star Wars.
Whoa.
Going into it each day. I did 18 days in a row, like the countdown to Star Wars Force Awakens, mostly because I had a bunch of things I wanted to say about Star Wars. So I just finished reworking all those into, sequential page format and stuff. So I have like Star Wars on the Brink. So I just did all this Star Wars, like ended up being like 6 full pages of just nothing but Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
And about how, the character Jolene Nolney, who's loosely based off of me, knows nothing about Star Wars. And the character Earth, who's based off my friend Nick, is, the super Star Wars buff. And they go through all this like riffing back and forth about Star Wars and Star Trek and how the prequels suck and here's why they suck, or maybe they don't suck. Or, it's I spent a lot of time thinking about Star Wars recently because of that.
That's funny. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't want to give people the wrong impression. I do like Star Wars and I enjoy watching them, and when I see this trailers, I do get excited for them. And when I saw, the Last Jedi, the Force Awakens, excuse me.
Yeah.
When they showed the Millennium Falcon and everything, I got pretty nostalgic about it. I was like,
Force Awakens was great.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I could feel it. Yeah. It was basically Star Wars reset, but it's got a lot of the same plot points, right? But
it is. It's basically A New Hope, but
yeah.
So what? It's fantastic. It's
exactly.
great. It's updated for the modern age. I don't care if it's a rehash.
So well. But I'm just saying, I did get very nostalgic watching it, remembering, at watching it as a kid, because I really liked it when I was like 8, 9 years old. I was all about Star Wars, and I brought it back a lot of those feelings. It was great, and Rogue One was a lot of fun. Especially the Darth Vader scene was ridiculous.
I loved Rogue One. I thought it was fantastic. I think it was a really good one-off movie that leads into Star Wars, New Hope. I thought it was just very well done.
Yeah. Yeah.
I liked the characters. I didn't
want everybody dying at the end. I was really, really kind of bummed.
I did not, for some reason, I did not expect everybody to die. Spoiler alert, but
like what's the name? What's the robot's name? The android?
K2SO.
K2SO. I was like, but he could, his conscience could be uploaded somewhere. That doesn't mean that he's actually dead. But then when they did the whole friggin' Death Star scene, I was just like, man, there could have been another movie with the same cast.
Yeah.
And it would have been fun.
It was a good cast.
And because you could have had a lot of sub stuff going on, but.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed Donnie Yen's character, the blind Jedi, or not like Jedi, but blind force sensitive guy. I liked him a lot. I'm also a huge Donnie Yen fan. I love Donnie Yen movies, so.
Yeah, Ip Man was great.
Oh, Ip Man was fantastic, dude.
Yeah.
That was such a great movie.
Yeah, I see. But, I was the exact opposite with that. I like Donnie Yen, but I just thought it was too corny. I mean, dude, seriously, shooting stuff down with a bow and you're blind.
Dude, Star Wars is corny to begin with, man.
This is true.
If you watch A New Hope right now, Star Wars is corny as shit. The first movie is so short and such a short storyline. It's like,
is it short? I don't know how long is it?
The first one, I don't know. It maybe it just feels short to me. But I always watch that movie and I was like, why is this so short?
But you know what,
dude? Cuts short.
Empire Strikes Back.
I guess it's 2 hours. I guess it's 2 hours and 5 minutes long, but it's not a short movie, but it feels like the story feels cut.
Yeah. Well, but Empire Strikes Back, though, I would put that up against almost any movie, dude. That is one of the greatest.
Empire's great.
Yeah, that is, seriously, dude. I think that's one of the greatest movies ever put to film.
Well, Empire's a fantastic film.
So good. Just away from being just out of the Star Wars franchise as a whole, just a film on its own as a standalone. That you have to have New Hope for the storyline to understand everything that's going on, but it's so oh my god, it is so good. I remember seeing that in the theater, and I remember my mom and dad gasping when Darth Vader said, "I am your father."
I know, right? It's such a great scene.
Oh yeah, man, that was great.
But yeah, that scene when I am your father scene is fantastic. Yeah. It's so iconic now. It's got, even now it's like it's been not made fun of, but iconized so much over so many movies. It's like
you can't even say that line. You can't even say "I'm your dad" without somebody thinking of Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're automatically assuming that. Do you ever watch? I don't know. Well, I guess you don't. But there's a scene in Trailer Park Boys where Mr. Leahy tells Ricky he's his father, and it is one of the funniest scenes, dude, because they do the whole thing as Star Wars as they're fighting with broomsticks on the porch and they're knocking, he knocks the broom out of Ricky's hand And he's like, and he's, I'm your father, no, and he falls off the porch, and it is so funny, And
it's been parodied so much. I mean, it's been parodied in so many movies and TV shows and comics and books.
Oh yeah.
I'm curious. I wonder if that scene's been parodied.
You've parodied
one of the most parodied scenes.
I parodied that, with your friends privately.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
You know what I mean?
All the
And
time.
probably anybody listening has done that scene with their friends in some way or fashion.
I do it with my kids. Sadie, I am your father.
And she says, no.
Right. Well, yeah, my kids have watched Star Wars more than I have. I mean, after we went and saw Force Awakens, Sadie came home and watched the original trilogy back to back to back. And then she watched the prequels, which she thought the prequels were flashy and stuff, but she didn't like him as much.
That's
and then she saw Rogue One, and then she watched them all. Her and Jacob watched them all again, and Jacob's watched them all 7 of them, besides Rogue One, because he's only seen Rogue One a couple times. Probably about a dozen times each.
That's funny.
And
That's funny.
It was funny. Jack, my little 4-year-old, who has never seen a Star Wars movie that I'm aware of, he knows all about Star Wars because he plays Lego Star Wars, the complete saga. So he's played through all 6 movies in Lego Star Wars, and so he knows the storylines of the movies because he's played the games.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, he knows the whole storyline almost from just playing the games, which is incredibly funny to me.
That is cool. That's funny. So anybody listening, if you get a chance, let me know how I sound, because I got a different mic being used today, and I'm curious.
Yeah. Using a new mic to test it out. That I'm thinking about getting the same mic for myself too.
Yeah,
so
we'll see how it sounds.
Hopefully it sounds good.
Well, the gain and the pickup on through Audacity that we're recording into is much more than ever than the other stuff. So I don't know.
We'll see how it comes out.
There was something that was really cool that Kaylee posted on Facebook, and I shared it out too because I thought it was really neat, and I think I'd like to see more of this kind of stuff. And it's with the photographer Josh Rossi. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And he's the one that's taking the kids with disabilities and then putting them into superhero costumes and taking professional grade photos and then
so cool.
adding effects to the finished product. And, he's got kids looking like Cyborg and Batman and the Flash, and it looks...
And Superman. Yeah, it looks awesome. It's amazing.
Yeah, you should really look... If you get a chance, really look it up. It's really a cool thing that this guy is doing. I think it's great.
Yeah, I'd seen that video or a video like that before, but she posted that and I watched it again. And I was like, man, this is so cool. This is such a cool idea.
Yeah,
such a cool concept.
Yeah. Well, it's just cool. I mean, he's obviously targeting kids with disabilities because they don't get opportunities like this a lot. You know what I mean? Because like a healthy kid takes a lot of granted because they don't realize how lucky they have it.
And it's good for them to feel special.
Yeah.
Because when you have disabilities and something's wrong, you spend a lot of time feeling like you're
an outsider.
Like you're not important. Like you're an outsider, not important. You're not special. And it's good as people take the time to say, no, really, you are just as important. You are just as special as everybody else. And here's why. And here's how we can help.
Yeah. So Josh Rossi, man, thanks. Doing good work.
Thanks for that. Yeah, man. So back to Star Wars real quick. I think it's funny because like now I'm a fan. I love Star Wars, but
right.
I grew up not liking Star Wars. I grew up very much like the Star Trek kid. It was like Marvel and DC to me, man.
You're a Star Trek kid.
Star Trek was my DC and Star Wars was Marvel to me. So I was like, no, fuck Star Wars. I like Star Trek. Star Trek's so much better.
I didn't like Star Trek until I was older because Star Trek to me was just, I don't know. I remember when the movie came out, my dad picked all this up. I was at a birthday party. I'll never forget this. I was at this kid's birthday party. I was like, when did it come out? 72? No, it's 72. 82?
Yeah. The first one came out in 1980, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was 5. I hadn't turned 6 yet. I turned 6 in 1980. Because I remember I was at a kid's birthday party turning 6. And my dad and my mom picked me up, and I didn't know where we were going, and we went and saw the new Star Trek movie. And I remember sitting through it. I liked the movie because I was 5, and it was just cool because it was big spaceships. You're in a theater. It reminded me of Star Wars at that point, and it was neat. But the TV show Star Trek, the original one, I was never a real fan of it. I liked it more when I was older, just because it was. I understood more that was going on, but it was really, it was just so slow for somebody my age when I was watching it. And
it's not built on battles and stuff. It's built on diplomacy.
Well, it didn't help that there's only like 60 some odd episodes, and they played it every day in reruns, and my dad watched it every single day. So after 2.5 months, you've seen every single one of them, and then you're watching it again. So it's like, how many times do you see the same episode?
Exactly. And just for clarity's sake, it came out December 6, 1979. So we're close to saying 1980.
Oh, well, I was 5, so that's perfect.
You're still 5. I just want to make sure. Everyone's like, no, it came out in 79. I'm like, well, it was like a month before 1980, so whatever.
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
But yeah, so I was totally, like I said, Star Trek was my DC and Star Wars was my Marvel. So I was like all against Star Wars, like I was all against Marvel as a kid. Because I was like, no, I like this other thing and it's better. Now I'm like, I don't care. Like whatever you want,
That's funny. You know what? I was never like against anything like that when it came to like DC or Marvel or Star Trek or Star Wars. I mean, I didn't think of it that way because I just didn't care so much for Star Trek.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because when I got older, I started watching more like Star Trek Next Generation. I started watching a lot more of that.
Oh, I love that show. I've watched that show probably end to end a couple of times. I love that show.
End to end, really? Because it's like 7
7
years,
seasons.
man. There's quite a bit.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've watched Next Generation probably end to end, maybe 3 or 4 times. I've watched Deep Space Nine end to end, I think twice. Voyager just end to end once, and I can never get through Enterprise.
You can never get through Enterprise. That's the one that had the guy from Quantum Leap, right?
Yeah, it was Scott Bakula. Yeah, it was only 3 seasons, but I just couldn't. I got through season 1.
I didn't like that one either.
I just couldn't get any further.
I couldn't get. I don't know, man. There's only certain things that I get into like that, and I don't know. I don't know. Star Trek and Star Wars aren't that for me. Even though I love space opera. I mean, that's what those are. I think
the problem for me with those, the problem with me for getting into them, like I said, I've watched Star Trek a bunch, but I'm not a Trekkie. I'm not super into. I don't count down to the new movies or count down to the new TV show. I haven't watched any of the new show. I haven't even seen the last movie yet. But I think the reason why I don't get super into them is because there's just so much lore. It's like an overabundance of how much lore there is behind Star Trek and Star Wars that it's like, well, I'll just enjoy it at the top level here, but I'm not going to dive too into it because that's a rabbit hole I don't want to fall into.
Right.
Because with Star Trek and Star Wars, I mean, there's hundreds of books and comics and audio books and all this other stuff you can get into, which is cool. But there's just so much canon, so much core material that takes up that is within this universe. I think it's one of the good things about like in Marvel and DC, how they reboot and change things all the time. It's like, well, you don't have to remember 75 years. We'll just start over, I mean, I hate it and I hate it and I love it. I know I talked about how I hate it before, but part of me is like, well, it's kind of good because you don't have to remember what happened in the 70s for Batman to read Batman today. But whereas with the Star Wars and Star Trek, if you don't know who Luke Skywalker is from 7 movies ago, episode 8 is not going to make any sense. Like you can't walk into The Last Jedi without seeing the other movies.
Well, yeah, but I would argue that they're so into the cultural and social psyche especially of America, that you can. Like, you're going to know when you walk in, who Luke Skywalker is, who Darth Vader is, who Princess Leia, who Han Solo, who Chewbacca. You already know all this. And you don't.
Well, we do. We can't speak for the non-sci-fi, non-comic fans out there. I mean, I don't know. I've met people before who don't know anything about Star Wars. They don't know who Darth Vader is.
They know who Darth Vader is, dude. If they tell you they don't know who Darth Vader is, they're lying. Hands down, unless they come from another country that just don't have access to that, they're lying. To say they don't know who Luke Skywalker is, they're lying. It's too pervasive. You cannot grow up in America and not have an understanding who those characters are on some basic level. If not the intimate of who they are, but the very fact that when you see their picture, you know their name.
You think so?
100%. 100%. Okay. You go find me 100,000 people at the ages of 12 and above. Every single one of them is going to know a picture of Darth Vader, a picture of Yoda, a picture of Han Solo, Princess Leia, and Luke Skywalker. Guaranteed. You put them out, they're going to be like, that's Princess Leia. That's Han Solo. That's Luke Skywalker.
I would say Darth Vader, yes. I wouldn't say Han Solo or Princess Leia would be the same way with everybody over 12. I'd say Darth Vader because he's been ingrained in so many other things. Like he was a national,
but the point is, my point is, dude, that it's such pervasive in today in our culture that I don't. If they're in their 30s or 40s and they tell you they don't know, they're lying. They're fucking lying. It's just,
I'm gonna find someone. I'm gonna find someone.
Sure, go find me a liar. I can. There's a bunch of them.
No, I'll just find you somebody from the country.
From another country. What I said, unless they're from a different country, that's one thing. You know what I mean? But come on, let's think about what if someone's telling you they don't know who they are. Let's really think about this. I mean, what do they grew up on a hippie commune with no TV and they're there for 50 years?
I don't know, but I've met people before who don't know who Clark Kent is.
Yeah,
and you could argue,
but they know who Superman is.
Because,
but they know who Superman is.
Yeah, but they don't know who Clark Kent is, though.
Yeah, but because they probably don't pay attention to, because they don't say, you don't hear, this is Clark Kent. I don't know, man.
Right.
I can wrap my head around that, because they'll know who Superman is, and by proxy, they know who Clark Kent is. They just don't know it themselves. You know what I mean?
Right. I get what you're saying. I mean, I know.
There's just few characters that are going to do that.
Yeah, you know? I mean, like if you go down a list of top iconic characters that are recognized worldwide, I don't know if...
You know what's funny? And I just thought about this, is that if you went down top iconic characters that you could argue that if you talk to somebody in their 30s or 40s, they're going to know who that person is just by showing a picture. I bet you 90% of them will be comic book characters, even if they're not comic book fans. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, there was a study done back in the early 2000s, and I can't remember who did it, but there was they did that. They showed pictures of famous, comic book, movie, TV, just characters, and in the top 10, the top 1 and 2 was Superman and Mickey Mouse.
Yep, makes sense.
And then there was I don't remember the order it was in, but the next 8 of them were Batman, Batman, Spider-Man, Donald Duck, a couple other ones. I think number 11 was Clark Kent.
Yeah, I mean that makes
Which
sense.
Was interesting.
Yeah. I mean you're gonna have your smattering of other things, like presidences and your your iconic historical figures.
Yeah, this was just fictional characters.
Yeah, but I bet you even if you added just, when I say people, let's say just throw fiction and historical historical people into that arena. Couldn't talk there for a second. Into that arena, I bet you the more recognizable people will always come down to, the Star Wars, the comic books, even if they're not fans of that genre, of that medium,
right? I agree. Which
is funny. You know what I mean? Oh, you don't like comic books, but you sure the fuck know who Spider-Man is.
Right. Here's a funny list for you.
Dude, I got it. Hold on a second. I know a guy. I work with a guy, actually, that has a Batman tattoo, and he wears Batman stuff all the time. Never read a comic book in his life.
What?
I was like, dude, I was like talking about,
whatever.
You're a big comic book fan. You got, no, I just like Batman. Wait, what? I think it's the symbolism of Batman more than the character of Batman.
Right.
The way that Batman
connect with Batman.
Yeah, the way that symbol looks, and it's all the dark colors, and I think that's more that than anything. Especially for
here's a list. I found this real quick. This is kind of cool. Kind of fits what we're talking about.
Yeah,
it's from the top10s.com, which they just basically open up polls and rank shit. Yeah. This was done. I think it's done this is 2 years ago, and it has the top 20 most recognizable fictional characters just based on pictures. Number 1's Mario.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason why is he's huge both in the East and the West, and he's literally the face of Japan.
Yeah, that's funny.
He's number 1. Number 2 is Mickey Mouse. Number 3 is Goku, which I find weird, because I know a lot of people have no idea who the fuck Goku is.
Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, but I mean, you know that. I know that. Kayla doesn't know that. Trish doesn't know that.
Yeah,
but they know the next 5
on this
list.
This is a worldwide list, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I mean, worldwide.
Yeah. Worldwide, I bet that guy's huge in China.
Oh, I'm sure in Japan, too.
There's a billion people there, so,
Right. And number 4 is Luigi. Number 5 is Sonic the Hedgehog. 6 is Pac-Man.
See, to me, Mario and Luigi should just go hand in hand.
But they're different characters, and they have their own solo games.
Do they have their own solo? I didn't know they had a Luigi solo game.
Yeah, Luigi has Luigi's Mansion. He has like 3 or 4 games out there, just solo Luigi.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Number 7 is Creeper, which I don't know who that is. Unless it's, I don't know. It's Creeper from Minecraft. I don't know. Just Creeper's number 7.
I don't even know who that is.
Right. Number 8, and there's no picture tied to that. For some reason, that one has no picture tied to it on this poll. Number 8 was Pikachu. Number 9 is Darth Vader. Number 10 is Superman. And then 11 is Rainbow Dash, then Princess Peach, SpongeBob, Goofy, Homer, Batman, Yoshi, Donald Duck, and Harry Potter.
Well, do they have one that's USA or America centric, I should say?
Probably. I could find it, but I just found that one real quick.
That's interesting.
Cool. It's kind of, yeah, I mean, I think about Mario. Yeah, Mario definitely would be one of the most recognizable, if not the most recognizable, because it's fucking Mario. He's everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting.
Huh.
That's kind of funny. I didn't even think about Mario.
I know. I don't either. But Mario's been in movies and TV shows and comics and cartoons, video games for since the late or the early '80s.
Yeah, mid-80s. Yeah, like '82. I think is when the Mario Brothers came out, where it was just the back and forth, and you get it, hitting the crowds underneath.
He was first in Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I think Donkey Kong. Yeah, and then they did Mario Brothers. Then they had him on Donkey Kong Jr. Mm-hmm. And then Super Mario Brothers came out late, like 84, 85.
Yeah, because that was on the Super Nintendo.
No.
Sorry, the NES, the NES.
Yeah. I got that when
Super
it came
Mario
out.
World was Super Nintendo. Yeah, I did too. We had a funny story. We begged and begged and begged for a Nintendo, and my parents were like, no, they're too expensive. My sister and I wanted one. I was like 3 or 4 years old when they came out or something like that. And I was just begging because my sister wanted one, so I wanted one too. I wasn't quite, I played Asteroids on the Atari my dad had, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And they ended up buying us one at the last minute. They found one and got one for us that year for Christmas. And we had
they're like $200.
Back in '85. It's a lot of money.
They weren't cheap. It was winter of '84, I think.
Oh yeah, that's when I would have been like 2-3 years old. But yeah, so we had Mario, Duck Hunt, and then we had like Fester's Quest, a couple other games. But I remember getting it, unpacking it.
Came with Mario and Duck Hunt.
Yeah. But my dad hooked it up to this little 9-inch. He had a 9-inch video editing monitor he had gotten from work.
Oh my god!
So it was a little monitor, but it had really good color contrast. It was meant for high end video editing.
Yeah,
and he had to like modify the input to make it work with this TV, the output thing, the wiring.
Yeah.
So we got it hooked up, and then it was to my sister and me, but we didn't get to touch it for almost 3 days because my mom and dad just played Mario and Duck Hunt the whole time.
They got stuck on
and
it.
They wouldn't let us play.
Yeah.
We got to play for like a minute. Like, all right, give it back. So they would just there and play. They didn't let us play till they beat Mario.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, we had we got it when the year it came out, and my dad bought it at the Navy Exchange because my dad was military, and my mom forgot that he had put it in the trunk of the car, and they would put they didn't buy us a lot of soda, which is kind of weird if you think, because like if you know my mom, she doesn't really care about that kind of stuff, but they did not buy us a lot of soda, and when they did, it was usually Sprite. And then they would put it in the trunk of the car, and they would only bring it in. They would just dole it in and dole it out, which looking back was probably a really good thing. That's probably why we all have really good teeth.
Right, you need a ton of soda.
Yeah, we didn't have a lot of it. So, but she goes, "Hey, Kenric, can you go grab the 6-pack of Sprite from the trunk of the car?" And I opened it up, and like that scene in Pulp Fiction when they open up the briefcase,
right?
And
it shines.
Yeah. It was like boom, and the first thing I see is Nintendo, and I go running into the house, and my dad, without even just realize what happened, he goes, "No, we can't afford to get that. That's for my buddy at work for his family. I'm just holding it so they don't know that it's there." Oh, the dejection, dude. The dejection was palpable.
That's so fucking mean.
Oh, yeah, because I had a buddy. Well, you're talking about my dad, dude, on April Fool's, told me that there was a puppy hidden in the woodpile when I was like 3 years old. And I literally like tore apart that woodpile looking for a puppy for like an hour and a half before he finally fessed up that it was April Fool's Day. But
it gave you something good to do.
Right. Well, he had to put the pile back. It was really bad on him. Right. That pile was done. But yeah, man, I was like so dejected. Then, of course, Christmas morning, I see the package and the the tree, and me and my brother both know that's it. That's
Right.
it. And we're like beaming to get to that package. You know what I mean? And my dad did not make a ton of money. He did okay. You know what I mean? We grew up very well. I mean, we're definitely a middle class family. You know, a decent home. You know, we were never
weren't hurting for stuff.
No, we never went. We never wanted anything we needed. You know what I mean? And I had new clothes every year. I didn't have to wear hand-me-downs. I had new clothes, new shoes, all that kind of stuff. So I feel very lucky in that respect.
Right.
And so we knew that, you know, but we had to get through, and it just sounds like such a pretentious bullshit thing to say. We had to get through all our other presents.
Right.
And so we get through all our, we get through all our presents, and then me and my brother are like, oh, and we both rip it open at the same time. Right, because it's addressed to both of us, and then we were like, "Oh my god!" And the Nintendo that they got us though was it didn't come with Duck Hunt. Ours came with Super Mario Brothers, but it came with Gyromite. And if you don't know what Gyromite works with Robbie the robot, and Robbie was a tiny robot that you plugged into the controller port, and it used like flashlight kind of eyes that blinked off and on. And it would actually watch the TV, and as you did things on this game, Robbie would move things up and down so that certain pillars moved up and down the game, so you can get by them or not.
Right. He was a second player. He helped you out.
Yeah, and apparently they didn't sell very many of those units, so they're
worth a lot of money now.
Yeah, are they? I don't know, but it was cool, man. But we played the crap out of Mario, man. Oh,
did you guys have Robbie the Robot too?
Yeah. We had it came with the whole system. Robbie the Robot. If you got Gyromite, then you got Robbie the Robot. It was like the advanced system or whatever. That's all they sold at the exchange. The exchange on the Navy bases only had the Nintendo units that came with Robbie the Robot.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's Rob the Robot, not Robbie. Rob the Robot.
Well, I was 9, so I called it Robbie.
How dare you forget?
That's what I called it, Robbie the Robot.
That system is now worth. It's not worth a lot of money. It's about $400 for that system now.
Yeah, it's not really a really good return on investment considering my dad and mom spent like $200 on it in '84.
Right. You can buy the robot by itself for $100.
Yeah. So it was cool though. We had it, and we played that thing for a long. We played Nintendo for like 10 years.
Yeah. Same here, man. Like, so we had my parents were good about. My parents didn't like video games so much, but they bought them for us. But so like they bought us the NES, and for the entire time we had the NES, we had Mario Duck Hunt. We had I had a game called Defenders of the Crown, which I loved. It was like this.
I played that. I remember that
game. I loved it. It was amazing. And we got Mario 2 and we bought Mario 3, and they bought Fester's Quest. So we had 5 games that we had for the entire lifetime of our NES, and then when the Super Nintendo came out, my parents didn't buy one. I ended up getting one like a year or two later for Christmas or for my birthday or something like that. Yeah. And then the entire time I had a Super Nintendo, I had NBA Jam, I had Super Mario World, Mario All-Stars, and I only had those 2 games because they came with the Super Nintendo. And then that's it. I had those 3 games, and then I would rent games here and there. My parents wouldn't buy me any more games. My mom took me to Target in Silverdale to buy NBA Jam Tournament Edition because I begged and begged and begged for it.
Oh,
and it was $65 to buy that game.
With the big fat heads?
Yep. And the cheat codes. And I always played as the Bulls because I liked being Jordan and Pippen and Armstrong.
Yeah.
But so she bought it for me, and it was $65. And she bought it when she paid for it. She's like, I'm only buying this for you because I promised you I'd buy this stupid fucking game, but I'm not buying any more damn games for that system. And I didn't get another game after that. The next video games I got was when I bought myself a PlayStation when it came out. Or I bought it myself.
My mom and dad were different because my dad was huge into computers. He didn't get a chance to really learn computers, but he was a rocket scientist. Like, he was a legitimate scientist. And he loved technology, and he was kind of a weird guy. I mean, he could take, it didn't take him long to learn whatever it was that he was trying to learn. But we didn't get an Atari because my dad spent an undisclosed amount of money, but I think it was over 5. I think it was over 5 digits on a system called the Ballet, and he was investing into it. Right, these guys came and he met some people that were producing a video game console off of the fact that Atari was a big hit, right? At the time, the Atari 2600. And some of these guys were from Atari, and some of them were from, I think it was Coleco or somebody, I can't remember. Anyways, they were producing the system. Somehow my dad got hooked up with them. They, and he gave them like a good chunk of money, and we got the system. We had it for like 6 months. It was called the Ballet, and they had a few games on it, and it was fun, but they never made it to the market.
Oh, really?
And so if you talk to my mom about it, she gets really mad because she thinks that they took advantage of my dad, right? But to me, I would say I don't feel that anybody took advantage of him. I feel that he took a shot. You know what I mean? Right. And he just happened to fail. He just, he gave his money to I don't think that he gave it so much, in fact, to the wrong people. That's just that the people that were, like, anytime you do this kind of stuff, you have a chance that it's not going to make it to where it needs to where you think it's going to go.
Yeah, there's a risk.
Yeah, there's a risk. And the reward could have been huge.
Yeah.
Like it could have been the Intellivision or the Atom. And I don't know if you ever played on the Atom, but we had that Ballet for a while, but we had the TI-99 and then we had Nintendo, and we always had computers and stuff and games in the house. So getting my parents to spend the money on a video game wasn't always the hardest thing. That they were always going to do it. You know what I mean? And if it had anything to do with something supernatural on the cover, then I had to do it in a very unique way because my mom was very religious. So like ghosts and goblins was not going to be, or ghouls and ghosts or whatever it was, was not going to, that was a hard one to get. I got it, but it was a hard one to get because I got it through my brother. But, but getting the video games as a whole and stuff like that, because my dad just loved seeing that kind of stuff. He just thought it was the bee's knees.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He
wouldn't
to play it, but he'd get excited to watch it.
Yeah. When it came to computer stuff, my dad was a software engineer and a system analyst and a computer programmer for his career for the government. So we had computer stuff up the yin yang. And we had, if it was a computer, not a video game, but it was a computer, my dad had it.
Yeah.
He bought Amigas. He had all these other, we had the Pentiums as they came out. He had all these, he had Atom servers. He had a DEC Alpha from Word that he brought home for us to play with. We had tons of computer shit to build and to take apart and to rebuild. I mean,
that's fun.
I learned how to do all my stuff on all this stuff my dad got from the government. He would bring home, and we would take apart computers and rebuild them and figure out how they worked and figure out how to get them up and running and all that kind of stuff. But when it came to video games, my mom was against it. My dad was like, he wasn't really against it, but he was like, well, whatever your mom says, if you want to play games, just play them on the computer. So I ended up playing computer games because I know I could just get those, no problem.
Yeah, but computer games are generally better too, then, especially then.
They are.
I don't know about now. Like, I don't know if the consoles have really caught up or whatever, but back then, computer games are definitely better.
No, computer games are still better. Even the computer versions of console games are just better because you have more freedom, And like you're stuck with whatever a console is, you're stuck with whatever the specs of that console is. You're not, you can't make your console better by adding more stuff to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, whatever. I don't game that much more anyways. But it was just interesting because like, I'd get the systems from my parents and they'd buy me a couple of games here or there. But if it was computer, I mean, I remember going to a computer trade show with my dad in Tacoma. I'm pretty sure it was in Tacoma, and I was young. And one of the booths there was this little company called ID Software, and they were handing out 5 1/4 demo discs for their new game, Wolfenstein 3D.
Oh, that's funny.
And I remember talking to them and meeting them, and they were like trying to describe, what a first-person shooter was because that wasn't a thing at the time. And
Doom really made that big.
Well, Wolfenstein 3D is what pioneered that genre, and then Doom was their follow-up game.
No, what I'm saying though is Doom made it big. I don't. Was Wolfenstein 3D the first one? I don't even know if that's the first one.
It was first. It was first, and it was pretty big as well. But Doom was a bigger hit.
No, I was working at Paladin Computing and renting games. Wolfenstein 3D wasn't. I mean, it was popular, but it wasn't that popular. Doom though, when that came out, I mean, I'm just saying that was the one that everybody got into. That it was a crossover hit. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it was 2 years. It was 2 years later. But I mean, I know everybody played Doom. But I remember getting that demo disc for Wolfenstein 3D, and we'd go home and we'd play it. And because of that disc, my dad ended up emailing the ID Software team and like got on. I don't know. He became friends with one of the programmers there. So we actually got the full release of Doom like early. Yeah. And the full release of Wolfenstein 3D, and we got all that stuff. We had Doom before Doom came out. And we were playing that, and we had, when they released the network version of Doom where you could play it on your home network and multiple players, we had that version early. So we had it on our home network, to like on my computer, my mom's, my sister's, and my dad's. We played 4-player Doom death matches, and it was just like the coolest thing ever to sit there and have these that was the mid 90s playing multiplayer games. It was awesome, on multiple machines. It was amazing.
So Wolfenstein 3D came out in 92. That was a pretty big first-person shooter. It has been credited with inventing the first-person shooter genre, but it's not the first one. The really first-person shooters is like Midi Maze, and that was released in 87 for the Atari ST. This is all from Wikipedia under first-person shooters. Yeah, that's an interesting... That whole genre is weird because that really... I don't know. In some ways, it's a great thing, In other ways, it kind of ruined video games for a while because that's all that ever came out.
Well, and a lot of them are so much just clones of this one before it, and like the whole Call of Duty series. Like, what's the point? There's so many of them, and they're all the same. Same with Halo too, for a big part. Like, I got bored of Halo because it's like, you play Halo 1, it was fun. Halo 2 was fun. Halo 3, I'm like, okay, I've done this. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, well, you start to get. Yeah, I liked the first Halo. Me and my brother sat and played that. And,
I love the first Halo. It was amazing.
We got all the way to the end. You know how at the end is you're on that what do they call it, the warthog.
Yeah,
and you got to go through, and that's the end of the game. And we didn't know that, and we were just like, oh, we kept dying. And we're just like, oh, let's just take a break. And then I left his house, and we did this all in one day. Right, we made it to that spot, to the very last spot, and we didn't know it was the end of the game.
Right,
and because. Right. Like, my brother and I, when we play games together, we very much like co-op. We don't like
I like co-op too. Co-ops, I hate death matches and versus battle. I'd rather play co-op and play together with somebody.
Yeah, I don't hate versus. I just don't prefer it by any stretch.
I don't know. I like working
co-op
together versus trying to be competitive.
Yeah, co-op is just more fun because you're like trying to figure it out. Okay, if you go over here, put them in a crossfire, I'll go this way, all that kind of stuff. Like, there's Army of Two, which is an awesome, fun co-op game to play with your buddies, Yeah. But I lost track. Oh, I left his house, right, after we got to that spot, and then I didn't go, we just didn't play it for like 6 months. Maybe even a year. And then I sit down and we're like, hey, do you want to pick up that Halo where we left off? And this is like when Xbox just came out. And he was living in this tiny house. And I was like, yeah. And we sit down, and I shit you not, Johnny, 2 minutes. Boom. We were done. And we're like, we didn't die. We just did it. And we were like, oh my God, it's the end of the game.
Was it worth it to wait that long?
Yeah, right. I always try to tell that, like, Tafina and I play a ton of games together, right? We love playing games together. And it's the same thing. We love doing the co-op games. And we play a lot of Mario games together because that's her favorite. She'll play that forever. It drives me nuts.
Mario's fun. Well, and like Kayla and I play Donkey Kong. That's our thing. We do Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I can't play it, though, for 6 hours, 7 hours straight, and she will. She will play it. She'll play it 12 hours easy. She'll play it. She'll get up in the morning, and if she didn't have responsibilities, like, I don't know, a kid, she would play it until she had to go to bed.
That's a love for Mario right there, man.
Oh, my God, dude. And it's like, for me, and it's like we get stuck on a castle or we get stuck somewhere, and I'm like, why don't we take a break for like an hour or 2 hours, watch some shows, maybe go somewhere, go do something, and then we'll get back. We'll be fine. She's like, no, let's just do it a couple more times. 4 hours later,
I'm frustrated.
Go by.
I'm mad. I don't want to do it.
Yeah. And she is. It drives that gets to me. That's an addiction to me.
That is an addiction, man. No, Kaylee's not that bad. We'll play, and she'll definitely retry more than I will. But I like it. I enjoy it. I like playing the games with her. But I'm not the kind of person to sit there and retry a level over and over and over again. If I die a couple times, I'm like, well, I'm gonna take a break and do something else. This is gonna piss me off.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's not interesting. I'm the same way. I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'll get pissed. Right.
That's kind of why I like fighting games so much sometimes, because for me, like, my video game time in my current life isn't very much. If I don't play a video game, I have to do it in between other stuff because I've got so many responsibilities going on with work, kids, podcast, comics that I'm working on, everything else. So if I sit and play a video game, it's like, well, I want to play something that I know I can play and be done. And if I have to be done in 10 minutes, I can, or 20 minutes, whatever. I'm not going to be pissed because I'm in the middle of a story or in the middle of a campaign. So that's why I do, like, if I play a game, I just pop in like Mortal Kombat or something because I know one of those games or Injustice, because I can play a few rounds and then be okay. Well, I can stop now. If I have to.
See, my first love of video games was Zelda. Right, that was first game that I really fell in love with. That I had to play it.
My parents wouldn't buy
had
it for
to
me.
finish, and I had to get to it. I borrowed it, and then I refused to give it back for like a little bit, and I felt kind of bad because I was like, I gotta beat it, dude. I gotta beat it. And the guy was at the end of the day was kind of cool about it,
Yeah,
because he had already beat it, but he wanted to sell it.
Right.
And I was like, I don't have the money, dude, but I
What
really
Zelda was
gotta
it?
finish. It was the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, and because this is junior high, I think I was in 7th grade when that came out.
Well, the first one on Nintendo or on?
Yeah. Which one are you thinking of?
I'm just asking. I'm thinking. I always forget how old you are compared to me. So you say junior high, and I'm like, that was the 90s.
Yeah, 1987.
Yeah,
I think is when it came out. So I was in 7th grade, and yeah. Anyways, I borrowed it. Wouldn't give it back. It took me like 3 months to beat it.
Right.
I had a subscription to Nintendo Power magazine then.
I did. I had one as a kid too. I loved it.
Yeah, they had the goofy looking dude as the quote unquote president, but he's just an actor with the bow tie.
Right.
And but that started me off on a love of RPG games.
Yep.
Building up your character, doing all that. So like the Final Fantasy games, I kind of like. I'm not really big on the turn-based ones like that, but
Dude, I loved Final Fantasy 3 on the Super Nintendo, and I can't tell you how many times I played through Final Fantasy 7 on a PlayStation.
Yeah,
like,
Final Fantasy 7 was
so
a big
many
hit.
times.
But
like I went to my sister when I was in
trying to get my
junior
point
year,
across.
My sister moved.
I was just trying to finish.
Well, you said Final Fantasy, so I had to go.
I know, but what I'm trying to say is I got really into that style, and those aren't games that you can just play for a second,
No, you had to hours.
Yeah, you get hours and hours invested into these things, and like a Diablo style one. Oh my god! Dude.
Oh yeah,
I'm. That's it.
I put a lot of time in Diablo 3, man.
yeah, especially Diablo 2, Diablo 3. But now, I don't have time to do those. So I don't play games unless I'm playing with Tafine. That's about the only time I actually play a game anymore because of that.
I play with the kids. That's about it. With the kids or with Kaylee. And it's not that often that I actually play. Like I bought Final Fantasy 15 for the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Last year for Christmas, Kaylee bought it for me because I was like, I really want this game. It looks so cool. I played it for 2 hours the day I got it. I haven't touched it since then. Not that it's not a good game. I just every time I'm like, I should play a game. I'm like, I don't know if I have 3 hours to kill right now.
Did you play Fallout 3?
No, but I played Fallout 4.
Oh my god, dude. Oh well, just the fall. I never played Fallout 1 and 2.
Yeah,
right?
You don't need to.
Yeah, but Fallout 3, man. Oh my god, dude. I played that game months. Yeah. I mean, I could have beat it probably the first week of playing it, but I wanted to do every single little side adventure.
It's so intricate.
Yeah, there's so much to it, and all the music that they had that they decided to use, and it was just like, oh, I loved it. But that's the problem. That's the problem. Right. When you have a love for those type of RPG type style games, you have to have hours and time to be able to dedicate to it, and I don't. Like right now, I've been playing Witcher 3 or Witcher 2 for 4 years. And I probably have maybe 5 hours into the game. So every time I go back to it, I have to like try to relearn it, and it's like it's not even worth it.
Right. It's like, why?
Yeah. The only ones that it's hard for me not to do is the Dragon Age games. Like Dragon Age I love, Dragon Age 2 I loved. I don't know if they've come out with another one, but those are ones where like I am quote unquote sick and I can't leave my bedroom.
Right. Oh, I can't go to work today. I got a cold.
Yeah. Yeah. It's bad.
Yeah, like what I was saying about Final Fantasy 7 is my junior year of high school, I'd already obviously, it'd come out. I bought it when it came out and I beat it probably 3 or 4 times already.
95, 96?
Yeah, something like that. And by the time I was a junior in high school, which was 1998.
Yeah.
So she had moved out to Pittsburgh, and when I got out of school my junior year, I convinced my parents to fly me to Pittsburgh for 3 weeks. So I went and stayed with her and her husband for 3 weeks. And I brought Final Fantasy 7 with me because they had a PlayStation because her husband played like sports games. He was a big jock. And
is she not married with that guy no more?
No, they got divorced and then she got remarried later on.
Oh,
This guy, her first husband's an asshole. But it's a long story.
That's right.
Anyways, and I'll get to a little bit in a second of why he was an asshole because it's part of the story here. But we're playing Final Fantasy 7, right? Because she played it before she had left, but she never got to beat it. So I brought it with me. So we started a new game, and over the course of those 3 weeks, we would play it. We'd play every night. I was 17 and she was like 23, 24.
Yeah.
And our routine was we'd go out, do stuff with JT and my nephew during the day because her husband was always gone working or somewhere else. And we'd come home, we'd buy a case of Zima, and we'd drink Zima and get drunk and play Final Fantasy 7. That was our routine.
So she was contributing to the alcohol of a minor, huh?
Oh yeah, she was my contributor from when I was a minor.
Call the police.
When I was young on. Yeah, right.
All right.
She gave me my first drink, so we'll just say that. Which I'm not advocating and saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying that's what happened.
She's your sister, man. I mean, this is how it happens. Go.
So, anyways, we would drink Zima, which is disgusting, but whatever. It's what she liked.
You got to mix it with like a wine cooler or something.
We didn't though. We just drink it straight. It was just so much sugar in those things. But anyways, we were playing Final Fantasy 7, and like I already knew everything to do because I had played the game about 4 times already. And what would happen is we would stay up until like 3 or 4 in the morning playing the game almost every night. And every time we got to disc, because I think it was a 4-disc game,
right?
3 or 4 disc game. Every time we got to the last disc, we would on that save, we'd come home the next day and our game would be deleted.
Why
her husband
was he
deleting
doing it?
Because he was an asshole. He was pissed because she wasn't upstairs spending time with him at night. That she was there to spend time with me.
You're only there for a little bit of time. Get out of here.
She was like, he's here for 3 weeks. He's my brother. Let me spend time with him. He's like, and he just got pissed. And so we had to restart that game 4 times. We ended up power playing it and beating it in like 3 days.
What a dick.
Yeah, or something like that. I think it was 3 or 4 days. We just played through the whole thing, and I ended up saving it on we went and bought a secondary memory card.
Yeah,
from the store, and we saved it on that, and I took it to bed with me.
Oh.
But yeah, he deleted it like 3 times on us.
Dude, that's a dick move, man. That's a dick move.
So we ended up beating it at like level 42 or something like that. Like some super low level we beat the game on because we knew everything to do because we'd done it so many times.
Yeah. There's a game called Drakeen, and it's for the Amiga. And it was a first-person sword and sorcery kind of thing,
Right.
And me, my brother, and my sister, Kathy, we were all playing that game, and we played it for like weeks straight. You know what I mean? Just and one person would be on the keyboard doing everything, and the two of us would be watching, and then we would just rotate, all 3 of us, and we just kept doing that. And we got stuck. We're like, we didn't know what to do. And then, we stopped playing it because you just got, it's like, what the hell? We're stuck. And years later, when the internet became a focused thing,
right?
And I looked it up. This is probably like 2005. This is after Kathy had passed away.
Right.
I looked it up, and it was you had to go and read the gravestones of all these different adventurers, and that was the end of the game. And we're like, me and my brother were like, what?
So you were right there at the end again.
Yeah. It was so cheesy though,
man.
oh, dude, wait. There's one more like this. So,
oh God,
yeah. So I ran a video store in the mid 90s, right? Like 95, right. I had my own video store.
That's such a 90s thing to stay right there, man.
Oh,
I ran a video store.
Yeah. It's kind of cool when I think back about it now.
It is cool.
Because they're gone, and that's like I was talking to a friend last night. Me and Tafine went over to her friend Jenny's house, and me and Jenny were talking. There's still some video stores out there, some mom and pop shops you can go to.
Some.
And there's one in Linwood that her and her husband and her 4 kids all love to go to because they get the same feel. And she loves to see her kids walk the wall and find a video that they want to watch. And she goes,
I
so
miss
many
going
kids
to the store, man. I miss going to it.
Yeah. This is like, when we were teenagers, we'd all get together, figure out what we wanted to watch, and then all pile in the car, drive down to the video store, and then make asses of ourselves going through the store and pick out our movie, and then
trying to stick to the porn section.
There's a lot of there's a lot of ritual that has been lost because of that.
Yeah, like Total Video in Silverdale used to do every Tuesday night. You could rent 6 movies for 99 cents a piece, 6 VHSs for 99 cents each out of the anything that wasn't a new release.
You're right.
So every Tuesday I would go and rent 6 movies. That'd be for the week. I'd watch those 6 movies.
Yeah.
I'd read the most randomest stuff I would never have found anywhere else.
Like that's Satan's Mechanic.
That's how I discovered Suspiria.
That's funny.
was I rented a horror film at one of those. I was like, oh, I'll check. That looks kind of cool. I'll check this out. When I'm like 17, and I watched it. I was like, holy shit, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So that's how I discovered Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
I hate that movie. I still hate that movie. I like it. I can't
it's so
stand
stupid.
that movie.
I have it on DVD.
And I generally like stupid movies, but that one was just, it just wasn't even, it wasn't that it was stupid. It was just dumb. I think that's what it was. I just felt like I don't know. I just didn't like it. I thought it was stupid.
Clearly, it's just too sophisticated for your taste. It's all right.
Maybe. So anyways, PlayStation came out in 1995. Do you know what PlayStation's first without this game, PlayStation most likely would not be here today. Do you know which one it was? Because they were not going well against Nintendo until this game came out.
Well, I thought I knew what it was, but it's not what I know. I don't think.
I think we've talked about this before. Actually, I think I've said this before.
What
do you think it is? What do you think it is?
Well, I always thought that the game that put PlayStation on the map was when Square went exclusively Sony in the 90s and put out Final Fantasy 7, and it sold like 3 million copies.
No, this is before Final Fantasy 7. They were already established when Final Fantasy 7 came out. PlayStation was established by then. They'd had multiple hits, but this is the first one. They were floundering, and PlayStation was actually thinking of shutting down, shuttering the whole thing down, because they just didn't think they could gain market space.
What game?
It was Resident Evil.
Oh yeah, how did I forget that game?
Yeah, it was their first 1 million unit shipper. Okay, and it spawned a whole genre, the survival horror.
Yeah, well, there was ones before that. Like there was D and Alone in the Dark that came out before that. But yeah, it was the one that it was the doom of that genre.
Yeah, but when I say they spawned that genre, what I'm saying is that what is that? Day in the Dark or Alone in the Dark or whatever it was.
Alone in the Dark. It was before it. So
but
it was
nobody played it. It's different. You could become the concept, but once you
it popularized the genre.
Yeah. It popularized it. I mean, that's a better way to put it.
Yeah, I love that game. I played Resident Evil, the first one. I played the Greatest Hits version. I played 2. I played 3. I played the re-release of 1.
Yeah. So when that came out, I was running that store, and so we rented PlayStations.
Yeah.
So I just took a PlayStation home. I was like, nice. I'm just taking one of these home.
What store did you work at?
Oh, I worked as a representative, a CSR, customer service representative. Whoop, whoop, whoop. At the Hollywood Video right next to Fred Meyer in East Bremerton. When it opened up, I opened that store.
Okay.
And then I became a manager, an assistant manager. Ooh, big time. I was making $1,200 a month.
So too rich for my blood, man.
Lake Forest Park in Seattle. That's how I moved over here, actually. It was because of that job. I was able to move over here because of that. That's 1995. Awesome. I was 20. Right, yeah. I turned 21 that summer.
That's not bad money for that time period and how old you were. I mean, if it lets you move over here.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I had buddies that were living in, and I just moved in into their apartment with them. And then I had my own store up in Mukilteo.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and that was fun. But when Resident Evil came out, I was working at Lake Forest Park, and so anyways, I just took one home, and my buddy was a janitor at the Lake Forest Park Mall, and I got him that job. Actually, they were looking for it, and he was out of work, and I got him that job. And then he was a janitor for quite a long time. Put himself through school being a janitor. So kudos to James Wookie.
My dad started his career at the government as a janitor. He started as a janitor cleaning up stuff, and he retired as a senior systems analyst with a high school diploma.
Well, there you go. I mean, it works.
There's nothing wrong with being a janitor and starting.
No, not at all. So we closed like at 2 a.m. or was it 1 a.m. 1 or 2 a.m. At those times on Fridays and Saturdays, and I was assistant, so every once in a while I'd have to close. So James would come in and he'd wait and we'd close, and then I'd step up and then we'd go back to my apartment because we lived in the same apartment complex but different apartments. And dude, we'd get super high and play Resident Evil. But mind you, we'd start at 3 o'clock in the morning because we had both just gotten off work, and we'd play until 7, 8 o'clock in the morning and then go to bed.
Right.
We did this
for so good.
Yeah, we did this for like a month, right? And same thing, dude. We got to the spot. We had these books, and we were driving around. We had no idea what to do. We're like, what the fuck? And then finally, we just said, whatever, and we just moved on to other games and did whatever.
Right.
Internet becomes a focused thing. 10 years later, I look it up. I'm like, what is the end for Resident Evil? Open the books, take the things out, and stick them in the pond around the fountain thing.
And then you're done.
No, then you go down into the thing, and then you do the final round.
Right. We're at the end. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, you gotta be kidding. So of course I went and bought the game again. Yeah.
Right.
So stupid, dude.
Dude, now that game, now you play that same game now. If you had a PlayStation or an emulator, you play that now. It's it's kind of corny, it's cheesy. The line in there was like, "Here, Jill, let me give this to you, the master of unlocking lockpicker," or whatever he says there, whatever Wesker says.
Yeah.
But I remember playing it. I would only play that game in my room with the lights out. So I was trying to make it as scary as possible. And that game, I mean, it came out in 96. Yeah, it legit scared me. And I was in 96. That would have put me at 14,
95.
15 years old. Huh?
95.
No, it released in 96, March 22nd, 96. I'm looking at it right now.
96? That doesn't make sense.
March 22nd, 1996 is when it says release date was.
Who says that?
The internet. Resident Evil release date. Wikipedia.
Oh, well, Wikipedia's not always right. Because that's so weird. Maybe it's just so...
I mean, the PlayStation came out late 94.
God, maybe that was it. Maybe that was just that close. Maybe it's just so close to 95. I mean, March, it's only 3 months after.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's right after I turned 14. And I remember playing it. I had it pretty much when it came out. And I remember playing it and being, there was like the scene where you go in the hallway.
The first time you see a zombie.
Right. Well, what really got me, what really made me jump and go, oh shit, I'm pretty sure I dropped my controller, was when there's a scene where you're in a hallway, and at the beginning of the hallway to your right takes you out into a courtyard area. Yeah. And then you go down the hallway a little bit, and the next door to your left takes you into like this weird like maze area. And when you first go into the maze, there's nothing in the hallway, there's nothing in the garden area. You go through the maze, there's some scary shit, but you come out and you walk by that garden area, and these dogs just start fucking barking at you and jumping on you. And it scared the shit out of me when I was 14. And I remember just like dropping the, oh my God, fuck, and like my dad's like, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing, playing the game.
The second one got me too, man.
Yeah, the second one was good. I liked the second one too.
Yeah, that was kind of meh, that was a fun game, dude. I always go, man, I really wish they would release the original one. I would love to play the original one again, like on my Xbox.
Oh, they've released a remastered version of it.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I should get it.
I haven't played. I think I have it for something. I think I have it. Wait, I have it on my computer. I have it on Steam.
There you go. All right, so we've talked Star Wars. We talked a long segment on video games, which is cool because we have not done a video game centric show. So that was really fun.
This episode is going to be Star Wars and video games.
Yeah, but I think
but not Star Wars video games.
You're right. But we come to the segment that we started last episode, where it's 2 books to invest in. I know I have.
Cue the theme music.
Books you should invest now. There,
that's our theme song. Now go.
Okay, I have 2. I didn't know if you had 2 that you wanted to share, or if you just want to go with what I have.
Let's just go with what you have. I think I might have one, but I think one of ours is the same. So
okay. So the first one I'm talking about is, they're both Swamp Thing. The first one I'm talking about is Swamp Thing number 50. We're going to have a discussion about this book later on, not today.
Yeah.
But this does impact the fact that it is going to go up in price. It might not go up like a significant amount, but it will go up, and it's going up. And that's one. And the reason for that is they don't call it Justice League Dark. But a lot of the prime members of Justice League Dark come together as a group in this episode, and this is the first time that's happened.
It's like the first unofficial team up of the characters that would eventually go on 30 years later to make Justice League Dark.
Right. They don't call it Justice League Dark, but it's like Zatanna's in there, Constantine,
Swamp Thing,
Deadman, Swamp Thing. So a lot of the prime guys are there. So there's if you look it up, you'll see a lot of people are calling it the first appearance of Justice League Dark. So we're going to have a discussion later. Does that constitute a first appearance of a super team? I don't know. We'll figure it out. But
I have thoughts on that, but I'll save it though.
Yeah, we both have thoughts, and they're probably very similar. But that is something to look at and maybe possibly go in and get it. And right now, you can get it for like $13, $14, $15 on eBay.
Yeah, so it's not too pricey.
Yeah, it's a good investment right now.
And if they do make that movie, it's going to go up. It'll go
even
up.
more. It will. And I wouldn't be surprised because Justice League Dark #1 is the official like first appearance of Justice League Dark right now.
Right.
But I wouldn't be surprised if this one doesn't eclipse it in value simply because of that.
Because it's older and it is essentially the same team.
And it's Alan Moore. And, so there's something to be said about that.
Right.
I have a second book.
What's your second book?
And I think this one is a well-known book. But this character is becoming more and more popular. More and more people are knowing who he is, even though anybody in the comic book realm know exactly who I'm talking about. And that's for Swamp Thing #37. And it's the first appearance of Constantine. Now, this is a good one to get because it's not a book that's unattainable. It's not a $500 book or even a $200 book. You can get it raw for $75 right now on eBay as a buy it now. And that's a good value. That's a good way to get it. Of course, if you get it graded, then you could spend anywhere from, $200 to there's one for $510 for a 9.8. I wouldn't spend $500 on the first appearance of Constantine yet because that was a pretty good print run. So it's an easy book to find. But I think at $75 for the first appearance of John Constantine, I bought mine for $40. $35, $40 a few years ago.
Well, and he's been a character that has grown in popularity over the last 5 years too.
That's right. He keeps going up. He keeps becoming more and more prevalent. He's going to be an Arrow again this year.
Yeah.
He's he had his own TV series. Yep. Justice League Dark movies coming out. Are they using Matt
Ryan? I don't know.
I hope
they're
they
probably
do.
not going to because they're keeping the TV universe and the movie universe totally separate. So
which I think is such a mistake. Marvel's not doing that.
It's such a huge misstep. Yeah, it's such a huge misstep on DC's part to do that. But whatever.
You have built-in audience ready to go.
Matt Ryan's amazing as John Constantine.
Oh God, he's perfect. Like I'm of the. I don't know if I'm an outlier or what, but I liked the Keanu Reeves Constantine. I just thought of it as not.
Oh, I loved
DC's
it. I love
Constantine.
That movie.
Yeah,
it's different, but I love it. It's American Constantine, but I love it.
Yeah, I mean it's in the same vein. I mean he's the same basic asshole of a character.
He's just an American version of the character, which is fine. I think that movie is great. I think Tilda Swinton's great in that movie. I think Keanu Reeves is awesome. I liked it. I liked it.
I loved the ending where he flips off Lucifer as he's going into the sacrifice, and you just see his freaking middle fingers going up as he's
I thought it was a great movie.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. But great value, easy to get. Check it out. I think those are two great books. And really, if you're going to do Swamp Thing 50, do 49 and 50 because 49 is the quote unquote cameo, which I hate because how do you have a cameo before you're not actually
exactly
in? But okay, whatever. But they, so I would say 49 is really the first, but I don't think it's everybody. I think 50 is the first time that everybody's together.
They all team up. Yeah.
So
I have one too.
You have number 50?
No, I have one. I have a recommendation for a comic.
Oh, well, let's do it. Let's expand it out. This is great.
It's the third one. So it falls in the same vein of your Constantine first appearance, but it's a little more. It's cheaper and it's one that has slowly gone up in value. And then it went down for a while, but I have a feeling it's going to go higher just because of the current market we're in with movies and TV shows and everything that's going on right now. And that's Hellblazer 27. And this is an odd one because this is the first time we're going to recommend one. We've really even talked about a book that's a key book that's not a first appearance or a death or anything that has to do with the comic book. The reason why this one is valuable or worth more is because it's Neil Gaiman and Dave McKean doing John Constantine.
So is this the first time Neil Gaiman wrote John Constantine?
Yes.
Cool.
It's actually pretty much one of the only times Gaiman wrote Constantine in that original series. And he did him and Dave McKean took a step off of Sandman and did one issue in 1990 of Hellblazer.
Yeah.
Hellblazer 27. It's called Hold Me. It's actually it's if you want to read it, it's a fantastic story because all the stuff in that time from Hellblazer was awesome. And this one's also got Gaiman in it. It's obtainable. You can buy a copy for less than $30 right now. And with more prevalence of Constantine going up and, Gaiman is becoming obviously more popular every year, it seems like. I feel like that book's going to go up and it's going to continue to go up because it's a later issued Hellblazer that has a key specific to it of Neil
Number
Gaiman and
27,
Dave McKean.
right?
Yeah, number 27.
Are you which Hellblazer volume are you referring to?
Volume 1, the first one.
Okay, from the mid to late 80s up until just a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think they're doing it Hellblazer Constantine, I think is what the comic book's called.
This
now.
one was just called Hellblazer. I mean, it was technically the cover said John Constantine Hellblazer, but the book was just called Hellblazer.
Yeah. I read that series from I don't know about the laters, from 125 on, right? I read
a lot
the first.
of issues.
Yeah, it's over 300 issues. I read the first 120, and I read them back in 2015, and I read them back to back. So you get a very good, when you read a comic book, when you can binge on it like that, it's easy. Cause right now I'll read Batman, and I'll read an issue, and then a month later I read a second issue. I lose what's going on. I forget because I have other things on my mind. But when you can read them in succession like that, it's really cool. And that storyline.
That's how I read Sandman. I sat down and read all 10 volumes in one sitting.
Yeah, that storyline is so good, man. The guy who originally wrote Hellblazer and
Jamie Delano. Yeah.
Yeah, didn't he do almost all of them? Didn't he?
He did volumes. I have it in front of me. He did volumes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then on volume 6, Garth Ennis took over. And then Jamie Delano came back on volume 9.
Yeah.
And then he did 6 volumes. He's the one who started it all. And then, we had on that same series, you had Gaiman, you had Paul Jenkins, you had Warren Ellis, Brian Azzarello, and then Mike Carey finished out the last 3 volumes.
See, all those writers you just said.
Yeah.
When you want to get, first of all, amazing stories. You want to read those stories? Those writers always have good, tight stories that make, because sometimes you read stories and you're like, what are you talking about? Those guys are always they're just really good.
Yeah, they're all amazing writers.
Yeah. Sometimes that's all you have to do to look at when you want to get something that you think is going to be worth more later on, because those writers come up with storylines and plot twists and characters that, Garth Ennis, it's Garth Ennis, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that did the whole definitive Punisher run in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Punisher Max, yeah.
Amazing stuff, you know?
Well, and also, to add to that, Andy Diggle worked on Hellblazer later on. So did Dave Gibbons, Jason Aaron. It's amazing. Peter Milligan actually, I was wrong. Peter Milligan is one who actually finished out Hellblazer from issue 250 to 300. He finished out the series. But all those writers are amazing, and it's it was a 300 issues long plus a couple annuals here and there. That's a ton of material to put out for a series that was a Vertigo title that a lot of the mainstream people knew what it was, but it's still 300 issues. That's a huge run.
Heck yeah, that's awesome stuff. All right, guys.
And then it was rebooted, and it had I think it's on issue volume 3 now, volume 4 now.
Well, they've
like
done
Hellblazer.
separate. Yeah, they've done separate series. It's one of my favorites. That's
I love Hellblazer.
All right, guys. I think that's a show.
That's a show. That's a show, man.
That was a fun show. It was a good show. I think that don't forget. This was recorded prior to our live episode, which comes out
we got
here
antsy.
soon.
We got antsy.
Yeah, we got antsy because it's been a while. Because we had some hospital stuff going on. Johnny had surgery.
I was in the hospital for a while,
and it didn't go as well as he'd hoped. Took a lot longer on recovery.
I'm still recovering.
So we do have a promotion going on right now with 2 pods a day. Those guys over there at Josh Hallmark and his crew have put together a wonderful way of learning about independent podcasts that are out there for you to enjoy and check out. So check out, what is their email address, or not their email, but their the website? Is it just 2 pods a day, right?
It's 2podsaday.com.
Yeah. So go check out 2podsaday.com and just see all the cool stuff that's out there. I did some reviews on some podcasts just because they were so cool. I had to. And there were ones that I didn't ever get a chance to. Yeah, it's a great concept just to get you, especially if you're a podcast listener, it's a good way to learn about more things out there.
Yep. And I love my podcast. I listen to a lot of them. And
that's
so
right.
do you. And it's,
Where can they hear us, Johnny?
they can hear us on Google Play, on iTunes, on SoundCloud, on Stitcher, on Play FM. They can actually hear us on Audible now because we just got approved to be on Audible, which is pretty cool. And pretty much anywhere else that podcast RSS feeds feed out to, we're on those apps. We're on the Overcast app. Everywhere else you can find us, we're there.
That's right. And we're on Facebook and Twitter. Twitter seems to be our most active area. We're also on Instagram. Yep. We have our own website at spoilercountrypod.com.
Yep.
We're going to put some things out there. I think we're juggling the concept of changing our name. Are we
juggling
not?
the concept of it possibly?
Yeah.
But we've held off on doing anything new on the website until after holidays because with my surgery and the health stuff and the holidays, no one's had extra time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
well, it hasn't been hell. It's just been busy.
Well, yeah. But so to anybody listening that I've met or Kenric has met, you've given us copies of your books to read and review. Please understand that we've been busy and we will get to them in January and February and we'll have all those reviews written and out to for all the books that we were given to review.
That's right. We're excited to do all that too. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
I read some of them and they're great. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and write out my thoughts yet.
Yeah. We have a name in mind. We both like it a lot. There's a URL that's available for us that we like a lot.
We're not going to say it yet.
We're not going to say it because we do like the name that we currently have. It's just this one's the one that we thought of
seems
fits
more
us
fitting
better.
to what we have.
Yeah, it seems a little bit more fitting.
Because when we started Spoiler Country, it was to talk about everything, and we'd really just talk about comic books. So
yeah, well, yeah. I mean, we still talk about a lot of stuff. We just, we definitely keep it in our wheelhouse. But
yeah.
That being said, I'm kind of curious what people think. Would they be amenable to a name change? Would that
let us know.
Sacrifice
on Twitter?
Yeah, would there be not a backlash? But I mean, do you think that would be a bad idea?
Yeah, I don't know. So if you have any thoughts on that, hit us on Twitter or you can email us at spoilercountry@gmail.com as well.
That's right. All right, guys.
Also, if you want to support us, though, we've got to support. There's an Amazon affiliate link down below, or you can go to patreon.com/spoilercountry and kick in $1 a month, whatever you want, and get some cool stuff.
All right. There you go. Hey, read more. Read more. We're out.
Peace.